Greetings all, this is Hairy Nick.
And this is a less hairy Justin.
Welcome to Getting Into X-Wing, a series where we're going to take a look at each of the current factions in the game. There are currently 7 at the time of recording this. Might get some Old Republic ones at some stage, that could be kind of fun. But right now we got the old era, the new era, the old
era?
There's 3 eras currently, and we're going to take a look at one today that is the prequel era. Because unlike everything else in the game of X-Wing, the prequel factions actually have access to every single ship in 2nd edition. For those of you who don't know, the game was updated about a bit less than 2 years ago now, probably about 1.5 years, into 2nd edition, where the rules changed and all the physical materials to play the game also changed. And not every ship from 1st edition has made it into 2nd edition yet with a new release. There's conversion packs to change 1st edition to 2nd edition, but currently the factions that are new to 2nd edition, as in the Republic and the CIS, as in the prequel factions, are entirely invented in 2nd edition, so they have all of their components you can buy right off the shelf. So for newer gamers, they make a great option.
Also, they came with 2 great packs. Starter packs in a certain way.
Yeah. The Squadron Packs.
Yeah. They came with 1 of one small base ship and 2 of another small base ship.
Yeah, and in each of the cases of those Squadron Packs, you can get one of those ships in a separate pack. You need the Squadron Pack to get access to certain ships, but in both of those cases, you're getting what you need out of the Squadron Pack anyway. It's not like you are paying too much to get access to something. If you're buying these factions, you're going to want these Squadron Packs regardless.
Definitely, yeah.
And we're going to talk about the Galactic Republic today, and having a look at the Guardians of the Republic pack, you can see it's a great place to start. You get 2 torrent fighters apart from anything else. This is the only way you can get torrent fighters. And as a new player, I think this is a very handy ship to have. Very reminiscent of a lot of the other cheap ships in other factions, like Z95s from Rebel or Scum, TIE fighters from the Empire, or Vulture droids on the Separatists. It's a very, very cheap ship that has some very weak stats, but makes a good backbone to a squad.
For the lowest initiative ship, it's sitting at 25 points, which is a great buy-in. You chuck 2 of these together, there's 50 points. It's an easy way to add points to your list.
That's it. And a lot of lists just use these as very effective filler. A lot of factions do that. Now, the Republic doesn't see a whole heap of use for these in swarms. We just don't see a lot of that in meta play. But a 2 of, alongside some Jedi, some Y-Wings, all kinds of stuff, is seeing a lot of very relevant meta play right now. And the fact of the matter is you get 2 of them in this box. So just in terms of having a good basic ship, I mean, it's not a good ship, but for its points cost, it's very, very reasonable.
Yeah.
Also in this pack, you get a Jedi Starfighter.
With the Jedi Starfighter, you can either get it in the Squadron Pack or in a single blister pack. So both of these packs come with different unique named pilots. So you need to keep an eye on that.
Yes. The good thing is, though, we were just looking at the different components that come with these. For example, you get Mace Windu and Obi-Wan in the Squadron Pack, but you get Anakin Skywalker in the separate Aether Sprite Pack.
Yeah.
The good thing is, you get separate templates for each of these pilots. You don't have any templates with 2 named pilots, as in one on one side and one on the other. Doesn't matter what combination of pilots you fly. So long as you have one of these Guardians of the Republic packs and one of these Aether Sprite packs separately, you can fly any 2 pilots in any combination, even if those pilots come in the same pack, because every single template is one of the generic Jedi Knights with a named pilot on the other side.
Which is a very, very clever idea by FFG.
It's good. It makes it simple. It means there's real value in getting one of these each. And in fact, let's start this conversation, because the obvious include alongside a Guardians of the Republic is another Jedi Starfighter. It is the first thing I'd always recommend. And plus, in terms of meta play right now, and you don't always have to go for meta lists. Like, I always encourage new players to try and experiment, but if you are interested in doing net listing, hey, you buy a Guardians of the Republic and one Aether Sprite. Hey, that is a list. right there.
You may need to get certain cards from other places,
You
but
certainly can, yes, that is important. Namely things like R2 Astromech and extra copies of R4 Astromech. Despite how good Guardians of the Republic is, FFG just didn't include all of these cards. Oh, how I wish they did. Like, there are all these examples where they were just so close to making a perfect product if they just included all these extra cards, but nevertheless... the thing is, if you already have a core set going into this, you're going to already have a lot of those important astromechs. So,
yeah, and can we just say, probably get a starter kit to start off.
oh, absolutely. Like, we're always starting these conversations, assuming that you've already considered buying a core set. Just before we continue, yes, you don't have to get core sets anymore once these new damage decks come out. They'll be out very, very soon. You can buy the templates, the dice, and the damage deck separately, which are the three sort of non-ship stuff you need to play this game. However, it is only marginally cheaper to do that over buying a core set. Now, a core set also gets you a lot of important upgrade cards.
Not only the upgrade cards, but it also gives you 3 ships.
Not of this faction.
No.
Nevertheless, you can always experiment and go into Rebel and Empire. But continuing on the conversation with the Republic, yes, those upgrades are going to help you a lot. Plus, you get some really decent force powers in the core set. So, despite the fact, no, you don't get any Republic ships in that core set, I would recommend looking at that alongside all of this that we're talking about right now. And the one other ship that I want to talk about alongside the Guardians of the Republic that I think new players can look at as an obvious include is the Naboo Starfighter.
We do like the Naboo Starfighter.
I really do. Like, it's something I've wanted in the game for so long, like way before the Republic was even a faction. Like, back in first edition, we really wanted this to be like on the Rebellion if they weren't ever going to make the Republic. And
because Leia flew one, didn't she?
yes, in one of the comics. Yeah. So it was always this really cool ship. Aesthetically, just this really awesome design and a really nice piece of Star Wars history, in my opinion. And it also makes a great ship in this game. It is very much meta-worthy. It works with a lot of different pilots. The generics and Naboo handmaidens see play in certain archetypes, probably in more high-tier meta play. We're talking more about like Rico Lay and Anakin Skywalker. Although all of the pilots not be super high-tier meta-worthy, they are at least very fun for new players. Even things like Danae Elberger and Padme Amidala. And I think in terms of expanding into the Republic and getting a ship that kind of doesn't fill the same role as a Torrent, kind of not the same as a Jedi Starfighter. I mean, on the extremes, you got your blockers, you got your aces. A Naboo Starfighter is a really powerful brawler. It's got a good set of stats, it can survive really well, and it's reasonably maneuverable. Not as much as a Jedi Starfighter, but you don't have to be. No. It's good to have a bit of variation between that and the aces. And I think particularly for new players, I like having those sort of 3 steps in the scale of blocker, brawler, ace. Because as a new player, as you learn to fly with these ships, you're going to find that they'll fall naturally into their role as you start to play and start to position them. And as you pick up those dials in the middle of a game, you go, oh, wow, that situation that the Naboo Starfighter in, that the Jedi Starfighter's now in, is like, wow, it can deal with this a lot better. Like, I'm starting to see what's going on here. If you fly these ships in some kind of weird combination, you're going to learn quite quickly why they're important to the game. So with all that in mind, we currently also have 2 other ships that are available for this faction.
Yes.
And we've sort of treated these as like tertiary options. So let's have a chat about that.
Yeah, so the 2 ships are the ARC 170 and the Y-Wing, the BTLB.
The BTLB, the old school Y-Wing that has the whole fuselage still intact. The reason we're sort of leaving these as tertiary ships is they don't really cleanly fit into those roles that we were discussing before. Also, in terms of meta play, they're not maybe seeing as much, especially ARC 170s. Y-Wings are seeing a bit of play, with pilots like Matchstick and Broadside doing quite well, in fact. But in terms of its role, it's kind of a bit all over the shop. FFG have changed the cost of turrets a few times. And it means that, yes, they can be relevant and irrelevant in terms of meta play. But in terms of keeping up with that as a new player, it's not what I'd recommend in terms of starting out. It's this weird brawling turreted ship. It's very powerful.
It's a great way to learn to start using turrets.
It's got a real good gun on it, that's for sure. If you want a turreted ship, it's a great place to start. I think there are better options on maybe some other factions, but it's really, really cool. Just bear in mind, no, it doesn't quite teach new players about these key roles that a lot of these ships are going to take. It's something that I recommend new players look at a bit later on once you're comfortable with the other ships. Same with the Arc 170. It's a kind of funky brawler with a rear arc and can do some really cool things with some gunner cards. It's very, very powerful. It's a bit chunky and slow in terms of the way it moves around, so you can really get punished if you don't fly it correctly.
Yeah, definitely.
Its dial can't really save it in bad situations. Its gun can, but at the same time, it's not really able to adapt as well as like a Jedi Starfighter. And that's why I'm kind of like, it's a good ship. It's a good ship for sure. But again, I kind of put that in my mind as one of those things you think about a bit later on. Plus, it really doesn't see all that much meta play. So if you want something ultimately a bit more competitive, it might not be your best option to start out with.
And in the next wave, hopefully in a few months' time, we will be getting the LAAT gunship. Now, this is going to be a medium-based ship, and it looks like it's going to be another one of these sort of brawler ships.
Yeah, a brawler support ship.
Time,
yeah. It's going to be turreted. It's going to be relatively powerful. But I think the most interesting thing about this ship is it's going to be bringing along some interesting crew options, which are really going to help support potentially any ship. And look, we don't know a heap about it just now. We haven't had everything revealed. Nevertheless, I quite like the look of this in terms of teaching new players some things, because we don't really have a dedicated support ship on this faction just yet.
No.
And I think with these crew cards in particular, that's what's really gotten me interested in this. We take a look at Ali Sakura and Plo Koon. They're Jedi crew members that have the ability to really offer a bit of versatility. Plo Koon can give you reinforcers, can also use a ship's native reinforce, like the LAAT gunship. You've got these options in terms of how you use your force. You can just use the ability or just use the extra reinforce. Same with Ali Sakura. You get a bit of flexibility there. And as far as we know, there should be other Force crew members there again. We can just sort of see the spread so far. Look, we don't need to see all of them to understand that, hey, we're getting some really cool support options. We have this really awesome support option, which hasn't really done that well in second edition in terms of an archetype. Like, it's similar like Palp Aces of old, where you'd have like the Lambda class shuttle on the Empire carrying Emperor Palpatine. It's a strategy that FFG are experimenting more and more. And I look at this and it just gives me the impression that FFG are really trying to experiment with this and try to just get this archetype moving a bit more. And if you're a new player looking at this kind of stuff, hey, you've got something that FFG are trying to push design-wise that you can move into when this new ship comes out. So I actually think this is, in my mind, going to move up very quickly in terms of a good option. It might even be like one of those first things you get after a Guardians of the Republic. I mean, this is just speculation at this stage. I know people are going to go, oh no, it's not going to outdo the N1 or Aether Sprite, but I think there's a good chance it might. Summing up, Guardians of the Republic, Aether Sprite, N1, the rest. Yeah, that's where we're at this point. I'd strongly recommend a core set as well, but if you're a new player, having these squad packs are going to be very, very helpful. And as we continue this series, we're going to talk about other factions, some of which don't have these squad packs. And I can't stress enough how big that is for a faction.
It makes it really hard.
That's it. And I know a lot of the newer players coming up are maybe a bit younger than us. It must be said. And hey, younger kids tend to like the prequels more than our generation. Cool. Yeah. We have some potential fans to move in on this. And I think that's a really good place to start. So in the comments below, what do you think? Is this a faction that you've recently bought into? Have we helped at all? And what faction would you like us to do next?
Yes, please let us know your thoughts.
And in the meantime, do not forget to like and subscribe for more cool X-Wing stuff here on the channel. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Reddit and all the fun social stuffs. But we also do have a Patreon for the channel, which, as we've said countless times before on the channel, is really like the best thing in terms of pushing this channel along and supporting it. It is... can't be stressed how important it is for the channel to sort of keep going, keep surviving, so we can keep these lights on and the camera and all this microphone stuff. Thank you so much to everyone that's already done that. You are all absolutely friggin' awesome. I love you, seriously. We will both catch you in the next video.
Bye.